Hello everybody, welcome back to an episode of Red Dead Redemption Character Analysis. We're back here and I'm really trying to grind out videos, just videos in general here on the channel, and more of the series we have going on here. I was mentioned in the Minecraft Adventures came out yesterday. I was mentioned that, I was trying to pump out more videos, and just because I was away for a week and stuff like that, I'm just trying to put out more videos in general, so expect more of these. Sometimes they'll come out, like I always say, with gameplay sometimes because I'll be busy, but got a lot of time trying to put more time into the channel, so just looking to put more stuff out, and I got more plans for this, for the channel and everything. So remember I mentioned that earlier, but just to kind of get that out of the way, just stay tuned for more stuff because got a lot of stuff planned. Kind of with all that out of the way, welcome back to Red Dead Redemption Character Analysis. I always kind of say here, and I know I said it before, I'm kind of taking my time with this character analysis in particular. Like I said, just because there's so many characters that I really want to go over in Red Dead 1, especially in Red Dead 2, we're going to have a lot of characters to go over too, just because there's a lot more interesting characters. So we're kind of going to take our time with this character analysis. So it'll probably take a little bit longer than maybe some of the other ones I've done in the past, and that'll kind of be the premise for character analysis in general. Like, some games I might want to go over more characters with, and some games I won't. It depends on how long. Like, if there's more than one game, like Red Dead Redemption 1 or 2, whatever it is, some character analysis may take longer to do than others, like just series in general. So, it might take longer, it might not. Just all depends on the game. And in particular, Red Dead is going to take longer because just of the vast amount of interesting characters and the characters I want to talk about in, Red Dead Redemption. So, but yeah, with all that out of the way, I just want to address some things. Today we're going to be talking about Seth Briars, which he's very an interesting character, and I did Irish, and Seth and Irish kind of help John, so I kind of wanted to do those two characters like in tandem, kind of. And Seth is just interesting in general, and he actually has a big part, plays a little bit more of a bigger part in Undead Nightmare, the DLC, even though it's technically not canon. But we're going to be getting into all that, and just going to be diving straight into it. Always getting my info from the Red Dead Wiki, great site. And yeah, so we're going to be going into Seth's background. He's a very interesting, kind of creepy character, some might say. One of the more creepier characters in Red Dead 1. So yeah, Seth's background. Seth is an American male in his late 30s. He is certifiably insane, and he is not unlike an opium addict. Only his addiction is money, and he has been utterly consumed by it, and his gold prospecting partner died, with the map to vast riches, and now he digs up graves in search for treasures. And that's his description in the Game of the Year edition guide of Red Dead Redemption. And born in the early 1870s, Briars has a history of working with Bill Williamson, which he does mention in the game, but is largely uninvolved with the gang lifestyle due to his pursuit of treasure. And Seth Briars was also formerly associated with Moses Forth, his treasure-seeking partner, which there's a mission where you get him, and I'm sure we'll get into that. And after Moses stole part of his treasure map, Seth became obsessed with getting it back, and this obsession has caused him to lose his family, his business, and most of his mind, which is, again, clearly evident in just like kind of the clothes he wears, and just how he talks and stuff like that. And it's also implied through conversation that his father left him, which might also be a cause of his lack of sanity. And that's kind of his background. It wasn't too much of the background article here, and we're going to be getting to the events of Red Dead Redemption 1. And John Marston first encounters Seth at Cooch Chapel as instructed by an old friend of his, Nigel West Dickens. Marston asks for help in infiltrating Fort Mercer, but Seth demonstrates an acute lack of interest. Till the conversation leads to the story of his former treasure hunting partner, Moses Forth. Stealing half of his treasure map, Marston agrees to help Seth recover his map in return for helping him. They set out to Benedict Point, where Moses is being held by the law after being arrested for grave robbery or exhuming. Marston distracts the deputies guarding the jail by stealing one of their horses and leads them away before returning to Seth. Seth knocks on the door to the shack before Moses slams the door in his face and tries to run away, and Marston catches him and brings Moses back hogtied. Seth threatens Moses with a knife for the location of his map. Moses then tells Seth that it is an Odd Fellow's Rest, panic-stricken, causing himself to urinate, funnily enough. Then Marston and Seth leave him to tied up on the ground and clear John's bounty with a pardon letter. And that's kind of how the first encounter and mission with Seth ends. And yeah. And then moving on to the second mission with Seth, John finds Seth again at Cooch Chapel with a wagon load of corpses from Oddfellow's Rest. Says he requires Marston's assistance in bringing the bodies to a desolate location in Tumbleweed. To be searched, and then on the way they're ambushed by treasure hunters who are also trying to obtain the treasure map. Marston then tries to outrun them in the wagon, killing any that come too close, while Seth searches the bodies on the way. They eventually finally arrive safely, with Seth having found the other half of the map in one of the corpses, and by chance the treasure map said that it was near Tumbleweed. Seth tells John that it will help him as soon as he finds his treasure. And then for the final mission with Seth, there's only a short amount of missions with Seth himself. John later returns to Tumbleweed to find Seth robbing a grave and talking to a deceased corpse at the old church cemetery. They then head over to the mansion where the treasure is supposed to be. Unknown to them, the center of town is filled with treasure hunters who then launch a surprise attack on the pair. They push towards the mansion with Marston killing any enemies in their path. When they come to the room with the treasure chest, Seth opens it and celebrates, well, before he opens it. But all he finds is a glass eye within the treasure chest, which is interestingly enough. Seth is devastated and angry, but he still agrees to help Marston as promised. It was kind of a real sad scene. His treasure ended up being a glass eye. So, the assault on Fort Mercer, Seth gains entry beforehand. The Williamson gang then led in Nigel Washington's stagecoach. Following the massacre of Williamson's gang and Bill Williamson being nowhere to be found and in Mexico, Seth parts ways with Marston and is not seen again. And in the epilogue, a 1914 newspaper article reveals that Seth hauled a big sack of valuable jewels and gold into Blackwater that he found until an unmentioned location deep in tall trees. So he did kind of end up finding his treasure. Maybe not the treasure he was looking for, but he struck it rich. So good for Seth in the end. Now he plays a little bit, like I mentioned earlier, he plays a little bit more of a prominent role in Undead Nightmare. So we're going to be talking about that, even though it's not considered canon. Now Seth appears during Undead Nightmare relaxing at the old Bacchus place, playing cards with his friend, the newly undead Moses IV, and somehow he tames the undead into not like trying to kill him or Marston, which is interestingly enough. He suggests that Marston cleanse the 3 New Austin cemeteries in hopes to end the plague in the mission. Get back in that hole, partner. And after the cemeteries have been cleared, Marston returns to the old Bacchus place to inform Seth that the job has been completed. And upon his return, Marston finds that Seth has thrown a party. This is a real funny one. He's thrown a party with a number of undead guests, Mary Lou and Francine, as he said, as well as the 4th undead that plays the fiddle, and Moses is also there, of course. Marston is initially upset that clearing the graveyards did not end the curse, but Seth directs him towards Mexico, saying the cause of the infection may have originated there. And that is a pretty funny scene if you watch it. He's just dancing with the undead, and some people say that Seth is dead himself, and that's kind of how he tames the undead in a way, which is interesting. But it's never really explained how he kind of does that. And Seth makes another appearance towards the end of the Undead Nightmare DLC after completion of a Civilized Man mission. After Marston has eliminated the undead and Abraham Reyes ventured through the Escalera catacombs and returned the mask to its rightful spot, Seth has been seen stealing the mask a few months later. This revives Marston from the dead as well as it reignites the infection, which is pretty much why I said he plays a prominent role. He's kind of the entire reason why the Undead Nightmare plague kind of comes back in the end. I guess it's again never really explained why he came back and like stole the mask. But it's kind of, I guess, the Rockstar and the DLC kind of led it up to the fans to decide why Seth did what he did. And after that, Seth is never seen again after Marston rises from his grave. However, it can be assumed that if Seth did not put the mask on, which would have turned him into an undead like Reyes, he may not still be alive, which, interestingly enough, was kind of an assumption there. And yeah, that's kind of Seth's character analysis. I am going to go in a little bit of his personality and his appearance, which is interesting enough. Seth is characterized as an unhygienic and antisocial prospector who has restored to grave robbing in his pursuit of treasure. He's obsessed with an unspecified treasure and the map that will lead him to it. As mentioned, of course, Seth seems to have previously been sane and had a family based on his claims that he lost it all because of his greed for treasure. Along with his sanity, all his morality is all but lost, and he has no problem desecrating the sacred resting places of those who have passed on. His personality can also be characterized as a bit of misanthropic, I think I said that right. States to John Marston that he doesn't like or trust the living, dislikes women, and during the events of Undead Nightmare actually seems to prefer the undeads over his fellow humans. And which is pretty interesting, just kind of proves that Seth hates people and obviously prefers dead people overall. In his appearance, Seth is very scrawny, and if you see him in the gameplay here, he's a very scrawny and dirty man. He's also wearing clothing of a questionable quality, and he is so skinny that his belt is replaced with a small rope, with what little hair he has, he seems to be dirty blonde and seems to be as balding as if his hat was removed. And that's pretty much it for Seth's character analysis. It wasn't crazy long like some of the other characters, but I think Seth is a very interesting enough character, especially since like, um, trying to think of how to put it. He's certainly one of a kind in the Red Dead series. You that don't necessarily see a character kind of like that, exhuming, grave robbing, kind of like Seth. He's definitely a unique character that Rockstar made, and I personally enjoy that company. And I like Seth, as weird as he is, and I think a lot of other fans do. And I think he was played a pretty important role in the New Austin chapter of Red Dead 1. So I figured I'd make a character analysis on him. Well, you're gonna do a few more characters, more of the important characters in Red Dead 1. Then we're gonna move on to Red Dead 2, which I'm very excited for. It's got a lot of stuff planned for it. I'm excited to go into the Red Dead characters for Red Dead 2, and I'm excited to kind of get into that and talk about them because I do definitely have some favorite characters within that role. But yeah, I don't have too much more left to go in Red Dead 1, and we'll be moving on to 2, so make sure to stay tuned. And yeah, like I said, really trying to grind out videos, and I got big things planned for the channel in the next few weeks to months, especially near like holiday time, so I got big stuff planned. So yeah, be sure to stay tuned, subscribe for more content, like the video, all good stuff, Discord, Twitch, Instagram, links in the description. As always, comment down below what you've been thinking of the Red Dead character analysis so far. If you like it, dislike it, whatever it is it may be. I always say I love feedback, whether it's good or bad, I'd like to know. And yeah, with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.